Hi, you're here with Alex from Holy Grail.
This is Michaela from Catechus.
This is Tony from Son of Antarctica.
Hey, this is Cobra Page from Cobra and the Lotus.
This is Eric from Black Breath, and you're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Ingsoc is forever. It controls your every move. Love and fear slashed together. Double think, don't confuse.
Welcome back to the podcast, listeners. I'm coming to you from Clarksville, Tennessee, joined by guitarist Reece Scruggs from Thrash powerhouse Havok. Reece, we're so pleased to have you tonight on the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Yeah, it's good to be here, and it's good to be in Clarksville and shred. Hell yeah.
Well, like I say, we're here in Clarksville, getting ready to see you all play along with Ex Mortis and Extinction AD. Three bands kind of in the same general vein, but with their own distinct sounds. How did this lineup come together?
Well, it came together because in some way, shape, or form, with certain dudes in each band, we're all like super bros. We've been on tour with XAD one other time. Absolute sweethearts, like just great dudes, know what touring's about, know the etiquette, on top of being just rippers, and they're amazing. And the same goes for Ex Mortis. Never been on tour with them, never done shows with them, but David has known their lead guitarist and singer Conan for quite some time, since they were like teenagers and stuff. And we've also since in this whole time, I've gotten to know each other and all that kind of stuff. So we've known that they've been, or that they are really good people as well, as on top of just amazing musicians. So it's like a bros tour. It's like we're all buds, we're all friends, and it makes sense not only with the music but with the camaraderie. So
that's interesting. As a fan, I'm always thinking, how do these bands fit together live on stage? But I guess live on stage is just a few hours each evening. You all are hanging out those other 23 hours of the day. That must make a big difference.
Yeah. I mean, I was just over at one of the restaurants here in Clarksville, and we were, I was there earlier with my band. And, I went over with the Extinction dudes just because I'm constantly hanging out with them, talking about, bands we love and wrestling and all this other kind of stuff, just having conversation, just, getting along, getting together and being really good friends. And we're constantly doing that. And, of course, we're getting ready to go on tour with Ex Mortis in Europe. We're taking them to Europe. So more to continue with that.
Well, what has been the reaction of the crowds? I think you guys have been on the road about 10 days or so. What's the reaction been to this tour generally?
Man, nothing but positivity. Just all across the board. As a fan of true heavy music, everybody's got a little bit of something if you're in the crowd. XAD's got that thrash feel, but they've come, the majority of that band comes from a band, a band called This Is Hell, and they were more of in a hardcore vein. They're from Long Island, and so they know their stuff when it comes to that, and they've got a little bit of that attitude on top of being straightforward heavy metal, thrash metal, all this other type of stuff is really cool. And then Ex Mortis brings the virtuoso type thing, where it's super shredder and then super fantasy and like all the stuff that I love. Together as well. So it's like when you eventually get to Havok, it's kind of like the worlds collide, like Extinction AD and Ex Mortis collide to bring Havok, like because we have some of the punk, hardcore kind of slammy things going on. And then, I don't want to toot my own horn like on the Ex Mortis level, but I try to shred. I love shred guitar, and I love what they do. So it's like we have a little bit of something for everyone, and then, the rest of the lineup's something for everyone as well. So, if I weren't in any of these bands, if I were not in Havok, I would definitely go to this tour at least one time. If I could go to multiple dates, I'd probably be there too. It's just so rad.
Well, actually, after you finish this stint with Ex Mortis and Extinction AD in a few days, you'll be jumping on the bill with Suicidal Tendencies and Crowbar. Those are some legendary acts. Have you played with those guys before? And what's your thought about jumping onto that bill?
And it's another funny thing. It's another funny thing. Two bands we've also been on the road with that we love as human beings as well. We went on the road with Crowbar in 2014 as like the last hurrah for our Unnatural Selection tour, where we went to 38 countries. And we were on the road for like 11 months, and we just completely hit the pavement as hard as possible for Unnatural Selection. And Crowbar into a 2-week run in Mexico was the absolute last thing we did for a Natural Selection run. And we got to know them really well. Of course, Kirk is a legend and all this, and stuff. And him and his wife, Robin, who's their tour manager and merch person and all this other stuff, she's his absolute sweetheart and takes care of us. And Matt, who's the lead guitar player, is just a ripper. He's such a solid dude. And Tommy's a great drummer and such a sweetheart. And they've since then have a new bass player, but their whole camp has been really solid. But on the Suicidal, it's like we went on tour with them with Megadeth, and just got to just flock to them immediately as being some of the most real dudes, solid guys around, and absolute pleasure to be on the road with them. So can't wait.
You mentioned Megadeth. We've talked a lot on our podcast about thrash as a subgenre, and that for some people, like, thrash is heavy metal, and that's understandable given huge legendary bands like Megadeth, Testament, Slayer. Do you see Havok as kind of following in their footsteps?
Well, I mean, that's like part of it for sure. What Havok is, man, I've gone off on way different tangents, or many different tangents. It's just on this tour alone with where we are and where we've been. When I first joined the band, there were talks of re-thrash and all this other stuff, and lots of bands who were wearing flip-up hats and high tops talking about pizza and partying and beer and puking and all this other shit, which I don't dig. That's not my thing. Testament never did that. Metallica never did that. Pantera never did that. It's my favorite band of all time. We want to be taken seriously. We want to stick around for a long time. And yeah, we want to follow in the footsteps. We want to be a band that people can go to after the legends are not around. And that's not like an old dog. That's not like bringing in a new pet, replacing the old pet type thing. That's a situation of giving the true thrash metal fans, heavy metal fans, fans of metal in general, and music in general, something else to look forward to, a champion in the genre of thrash metal or heavy metal that they could go see live, that we're going to carry the torch and we're not going to fuck up the genre. We're not going to start, throwing in choruses of, Miss My Girlfriend and, all this other stuff. We're going to play it. We love Exodus and we love Testament, and we want to follow in those footsteps to bring fans of the genre something to look forward to in the years to come when Exodus is not around, when Testament's not around, when Megadeth's not around, and all this other stuff, and totally respect the genre as a whole.
What you're saying is just music to my ears. I mean, I think that bands like you guys, like Destroyer 666, like Vector, have definitely brought something new and more relevant, have kind of reinvented thrash. Do you see yourself in that vein?
Well, what I always say, and me personally, because I'm the band's from Colorado, I'm from Virginia, and what is southern for a lot of other people. We have a lot of sayings, and we have a lot of sayings that just escape other people. But I always say that we're not reinventing the wheel. we have a brand of our own tires, and we just have a new brand of tires, and we would love for people to check out the tread. Of course, I always said that if you were to come out with some fresh, original subgenre or own style of music in general, it would probably sound like absolute dog shit. It would be like circus music meets grindcore meets gangster rap or some shit like that, which all those things by themselves are probably pretty cool to other people, and that's fine and dandy or whatever. But that to be original would be putting together some of the kookiest, dumbest shit ever, and it would not be cool. So what we're trying to do is we're younger people who love what we love, and we love to write what we write, and we think that this needs to live on. We're doing it not only for ourselves. Music is for yourself as an individual expression and an expression as a group as a whole. But if you're out in the world and you're putting your records out, you're putting your music out, you're doing what you're going to play live, you're obviously doing it for other people, because people are the ones who are putting money in your pockets, who are filling up your shows and keeping your bus on the road, and all this other stuff. So obviously we're doing it for other people. But we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. The wheel has been invented. The wheel is a tried, true method of transportation. We got our own set of tires, man. And if you want to check them out, you can check them out.
Let's talk about the new music. You all just have written and are about to release a new album, Conformicide. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a long journey to get to Conformicide, to get to the writing process. It took about a year of our downtime. So, as I had just mentioned a little while ago, we went to 38 countries. We toured for 10 and a half to 11 months of 2014. At that point in time, when I had first joined the band, all the way up until that point in time, we had spent 5 years on the road straight, with not even a month in between some of these tours, hitting the pavement as hard as possible, getting known to be road dogs, people who would put in the work. And so getting to Conformicide, we took a bit of a break. It was like almost a year. A lot of things happened, and we just decided, hey, we needed a bit of a break. We needed to go home, and I went back to Virginia, stayed there, I worked, and got to reconnect with my family after so many years, and my friends and all that stuff. It was my favorite place to be, and I loved the time off, and everybody kind of did their own thing, and it was a time without Havok, and it was cool. But at the same time, we got to revisit some riffs that we had not used, some good ideas, some song structures, some all this stuff, and then we started kind of coming up. Dave would be like, hey, I have this part of a song. And I'd be like, okay, well, send me the solo section. And I'd be able to write out all my solos. I had everything completely prepared. Long story short, it was just a long journey to get to Conformicide, and just cannot absolutely wait to have it in our hands, and for other people to have it in their hands and listen to it in its entirety.
Well, you've already shared some music off that in form of videos. I think a lyric video for Hang 'Em High and a recent video for Ingsoc. Those have just blown me away. Some real progressive elements in Ingsoc, I think.
We're fans of all different types of music. When it comes to Ingsoc, a lot of that stuff that was one of the things where we revisited a lot of riffs. I had the main riff for years, even before years before I was in Havok, and I brought it to Dave, and I was like, yo, I have this riff. I was like, yeah, okay, we definitely use that sometimes, a great riff, and then we just didn't really get to it. And then messing around in Europe with the really dissonant black metal-y type stuff, and that was like, oh yeah, we'll definitely use it, but I don't know when. And it just kind of it sat in computer land, and file land somewhere. And then, as soon as we were, starting to talk about new music, we started to dig some of the stuff up, and we're like, we have to use this stuff. And we didn't we didn't mean to make we did, but we didn't know it was progressive. We just kind of put it together, and we were like, oh, this is really cool stuff. And then it just ended up being what it was. So.
Awesome. Well, hey, tonight I'm about to see you in a pretty small venue. This is small town, mid-America, but you guys have had the chance to play some big stages. You said you went all across the globe. I know you played Hellfest this summer. What's that feel like to step on a festival stage and be out there performing in front of the masses?
Well, it's mind-blowing. I mean, especially Hellfest crowd and most of these crowds we play in front of that are, just absolutely massive. It's crazy that, people will come together to, even with this tour, it's a totally different, it's two different crowds, but, when there's video footage of Hellfest in France and our crowd and how responsive they were to us and how much they dug us, and it's just kind of like, wow, I guess this is cool, I guess we're doing the right thing, and most of the shows, and I would say 95% of the shows, or 99.5% of the shows on this tour, even though we're playing smaller places, man, we're selling some of these places out, or we're 10 people from selling some of these places out. And I know it has a whole lot to do with our great support bands and stuff, but the interest in Havok is there, and it's really awesome, and we're all very, really grateful, and we've put in so much work and sacrificed so much. So to see it all across from small club to big festival, the appreciation for our band, it keeps us going even in the darkest of times. So,
starting to wrap up with you, Reece. By the time this interview is up, I think this tour will be over. You might be back on the road with Suicidal Tendencies and Crowbar. And you kind of alluded to this about Ex Mortis, what the band's plans are after that tour is over going into middle of 2017.
Yeah, for sure. We're after Suicidal. We're going to do a little week stint. It's our first week having Conformicide out. So the second to last date with Suicidal and Crowbar, March 10th, Conformicide will be released. So to maximize our numbers as a strategic business plan, we're going to tour the first week with Warbringer, Ex Mortis, and then some support bands. I know that our buddy Mario Rubio from a band called Thrown Into Exile will be, his band will be joining us, along with some other support bands along the way. We're going to be playing certain parts of California, and one of the bands will be the first show of the year for this band in a while is Psychosomatic from Sacramento, and they're a great band and good friends of ours and stuff. But
Sacramento is a pretty cool music scene. There's a lot of good bands out there.
Yeah, and just all kinds of different stuff. You have everything from our buddies in Psychosomatic who are thrash punk, and elements of this, elements of that, just real relentless stuff. And then Deftones is from there. There's all kinds of stuff going on in Sac. So we have that week, but the big part, we're going the whole month of April, no days off. From the 1st all the way to the 30th, we're taking Warbringer out as a direct support band, along with Gorod, Ex Mortis, and I think that's it. I believe that's it. If I'm wrong, then I apologize. But I believe that, it's us, Warbringer, Gorod, and Ex Mortis. Yes.
That's a value for the fans' money just to see those. Yeah.
Absolutely, and then we're all going to be on one bus. And other than Gorod, which I heard are absolute great people, and of course they're great musicians. We're really good friends with Ex Mortis, which I have mentioned, but we're also really good friends with the Warbringer guys. And a full-scale tour has never happened with Warbringer, but it's something that the fans of the newer thrash bands have always really wanted, but have never gotten. So it's a kind of bringing that to light for a lot of people that, the bigger bands of the genre, of the new era, are getting together to tour, and we're going to a place like Europe where it's just so appreciated. So we're really and they've got a record coming out too around the same time. I think maybe a week or two after ours or something. And just we're just really excited to be able to hook up and take this and take this on the road. So that's the plans. That's the plans for now. And festivals in the summer. Can't do that. Can't say specifically, but that's exactly what we're going to do. Is festivals in the summer, shows in the summer in Europe. But here or there, we're still kind of planning everything out as it goes. But that's the rock solid plans as of right now.
You guys are road warriors, and folks should just watch the internet for upcoming dates and times. You'll be coming through their area of the globe.
Yeah, we're going to be busy, believe me. We got a record coming out, and, Unnatural Selection came out, and we did so much on that. I can't fathom that Conformicide, the support for Conformicide, will be anything short of that.
Well, finally, Reece, how can fans learn more about Havok, and specifically, how can they purchase music and merchandise, including this new album, Conformicide, from the band?
Yeah, for sure. Of course, all of our pages, all of our social media pages have all of our information on it. It's always Havok Band Official. Havok Band Official for Facebook, Havok Band Official for Instagram. That's where we do most of our posting. And when I mean most of our posting, I mean there's one member of the band at any given day, and it could be any one of us posting. It's not management. It's not record label. It's not any of that stuff. There might be an algorithm thing going on there with, kind of promoting, merch stuff for Merch Now, and a couple other merch companies, or to pre-order Conformicide, which is Pledge Music. But when we post on our own social media or on our social media pages, the Havok Band Official stuff, that's us as individuals. So when you comment and there's a comment back, it's Pete, it's David, it's Nick, it's me, and we want to keep it that way because it's staying personal and staying obtainable. I think is a way to get deep-seated, rooted in minds and hearts of our fans, so that people won't be so quick, especially in this day and age, to set us aside. For the new record, as we were talking about, you can pre-order through Pledge Music. Pledge Music has we have all these different things you can do. You can just pre-order the record and get the record. You can get it signed. You can get vinyl. You could also do crazy stuff like buy guitars and all this other stuff. Like there's insane like bundle packages and stuff, and that's through Pledge Music. For getting the record on its release date on March 10th through Century Media Records, you can go to any store. I believe Best Buy is going to have it. I believe, FIEs across the country. Of course, every digital media outlet, Spotify, of course, is going to have it. You could buy it through iTunes and Amazon, and I guess like CD Baby and is still a thing, and all that other stuff, which we would love your support by actually buying something. But every single avenue, especially because we are with Century Media as a bigger record label now, it's going to be available everywhere. It's going to be, held everywhere. And if you can't find it, go to our pages and we'll tell you.
And come out on this upcoming tour with Suicidal Tendencies and Crowbar. Meet you guys, buy a T-shirt, buy the back catalog. You guys will have material on hand.
Absolutely. We've not only got new merchandise in our merch store for Merch Now and indie merch and all this other kind of stuff, but we have new merch that you can only get at the merch stand at our shows, along with signed releases of Burn, Time Is Up, Unnatural Selection, and Point of No Return EP, all signed, by every member. New stickers, new die-cut stickers, new long sleeves, new this, new that, all kinds of stuff that we're not going to offer until all of these tours are up. So if you want some of this exclusive merch, you got to come out to a show, and then by the time Conformicide comes out, maybe a week before Conformicide comes out, we're going to have the new record in our hands to sell to you. So when the Suicidal Crowbar tour starts in, let's see, the end of February, no, the beginning of March in Santa Ana, California at the Observatory, we will have Conformicide on hand. So, and we're going to sign them, we're going to have CDs, vinyl, everything. So, if you want to come out and see us, and you want to come out and see us around that time, you could definitely get some new merch, and you could get the new record.
Plenty of incentive for folks to come out and see you guys live, yeah. And the music's awesome as well. So,
cool.
Well, Reece, I so appreciate you taking the time to join us. I'm very excited to see you guys tonight, and best of luck with this new album. If the songs I've heard so far are any indication, it's going to be a killer.
Yeah, well, and much appreciated, and it's always awesome to be asked cool questions. There's the run-of-the-mill stuff, and great to actually do cool interviews.